Why did you come up with the brand name NeceSera?
Necessary. It comes from necessary, which is basically everything essential in your life. And also Sera means evening in Italian. So we started off with more like evening wear and like more loungewear in the evenings.
One thing I find supremely annoying about Riddhi.
She's a very strict boss. Like, I'm scared of her.
What are some of the biggest challenges and failures you have seen at NeceSera?
Smart person came into our office and he's like, I will sell your products for you. Please give me like 100, 200 pieces. And 6 months later, we have no sign of where our products have gone.
Oh God.
So the first day ever that NeceSera crossed 1 lakh in sales, I entered the factory and like 10 people came up to me and they were like, NeceSera crossed 1 lakh rupees. But being a D2C brand, one thing I would like to say is your goal is making sure your customer is happy.
Granted a wish to spend a day with a famous personality, who would that be?
Ranveer Singh.
Welcome everyone. We bring to you another super exciting episode of the Because She Can podcast. Today on the studio we have Sudiksha and Riddhi Jain from the brand NeceSera. Thank you girls for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Very excited to be here.
I want to dive in real quick with my first question that you're two sisters who work together.
Yeah.
And while it's a very innocent and honest brand, like my younger sister is my best friend and I also work with her, but that dynamic can be very difficult to balance sometimes when you're co-founders as well as sisters, your personal and professional boundaries do tend to merge.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you both one by one, like, how do you balance that, especially when there are disagreements at work?
Are we balancing it, Riddhi? You should ask our family that. No, but I think because we are siblings, we understand those boundaries and different scenarios so much more. We know how to be at work, we know how to be at home. Of course, work does tend to trickle into our family lives, which is very natural. But we consciously make an effort to keep them both separate just by making sure we're not bringing work talk home or work emotions home.
Yeah.
And
Work emotions, I like that.
because they get heated, right?
Yeah.
And we actually share a lot of spaces, like even in personal life, there's a lot of different spaces that we share together. So I think we've now, after many years, like learned how to switch in and out of things. So literally there's been many times where we're at a family event and there's something crazy happening at work. So we step out, we deal with it, and then we come back like nothing's happened. And we have to do it, there's no option. So now we've sort of like, we're reaching like the mastering level in this.
Nice.
We disappear and reappear.
So NeceSera is a nightwear and lounge brand. Before we talk more about that, so as co-founders and sisters again, how do you balance your responsibilities at work?
I think we're born, like siblings are innately opposites in nature. And from birth, we've known what she's good at, what I am good at. Like in fact, she was studying marketing. I was always into finance. So when we started working on NeceSera together, we both automatically knew what our respective roles are going to be.
Yeah.
We didn't have to essentially define them. Of course, we have defined them at this point. So
I think now we've reached a point where we have like, we know on which topics we individually have our veto. So even if there's a disagreement, we sort of know who has the last say in those particular topics. So it works out that way. Definitely it's hard, but it's important to, decide all of that beforehand so that it's easier going forward.
So playing on each other's strengths.
Yeah, and having a mutual respect for each other, that's the most important, I would say.
For sure.
Okay. So I have to ask this. So Sudiksha, what is one thing you find supremely annoying about Riddhi?
I'm sure she can guess this one. She's a very strict boss. Like, I'm scared of her.
I can see that.
Seriously?
Yeah. Like she's the type A boss, right?
Oh God.
She'll never shout at you, but you know when you've done something wrong.
I'll be like that stern look.
It's more like, Sudiksha, Seriously.
And like, if I were to ask you the
Yeah.
same thing.
So I think there's this thing called Sudiksha Standard Time, which is 20-30 minutes before the actual, time you have to do
Before
something or
the time?
Yes. And keeping up with that is literally like the hardest task. One thing is to do it, and one thing is to keep up with this time.
So you're over punctual.
I'm over
Yeah.
punctual. I hate being late.
So let's talk about NeceSera a bit. First of all, what is the significance of the name? Like, why did you come up with the brand name NeceSera?
So there's two meanings to it. One
Okay.
is of course necessary. It comes from necessary, which is basically everything essential in your life which you absolutely need. So it's like t-shirts, bottoms, everything which you like really need, and it's going to stay with you for a longer time. And also Sera means evening in Italian. So we started off with more like evening wear and like more loungewear in the evening. So that's sort of like where it came from. And then it just like we wanted to stick with you through every aspect of your life and be your necessity.
Oh, nice. And it has like this cute feminine like ring to it, like NeceSera.
Yeah.
So it sounds nice as well. Like,
Yeah.
I want to say like Sera.
Exactly.
You know, that's actually
feeling that we
Yeah.
wanted
Oh,
to like sort
really?
of bring to you, right?
So you're first generation women entrepreneurs to enter your father's business, which is like a traditional family setup in India, essentially.
Yeah.
And you both, especially Riddhi, you joined at a very young age, and then Sudiksha a couple of years later, in a very male-dominated business where you have employees that are much older than you, or because it's an export unit, production, people on the factory floor that are mostly men and older.
Yeah.
So how was it difficult for you to navigate that space? What was your experience like?
Yeah, definitely. It was a very steep learning curve, because I think initially most people who enter the family business face this challenge of like getting the team who's been working with the company for so many years to trust you firstly, because you come out like I was a 21-year-old who would just come into this company, and although I was doing something different, I still had to work with the manufacturing unit a lot. And so, the most important thing is getting everyone to trust you and believe in you. So the first step to that for me would be honestly believing in yourself first, because as an entrepreneur, it's your responsibility to get everyone around you to believe in you. Only then it's going to work. It's never like a one-man team. It's always you have to take everyone with you. So step one, believe in yourself so that you can get everyone else to believe in you as well. And I think it started off with like us working in every different department individually, not as entrepreneurs, but like truly people of that department, so that we could understand the process and we could understand each other and the hardships and the challenges which come with every place. And so we literally like drowned ourselves in each part of the factory before we sort of, got into like actually working on NeceSera.
And another thing I would add to that is respecting everyone. You have to respect them to gain their respect and appreciation. Like I till date remember this. So the first day ever that NeceSera crossed 1 lakh in sales, I entered the factory and like 10 people came up to me and they were like, NeceSera crossed 1 lakh rupees. And up until that day, I don't think we were taken as seriously. But the day we proved ourselves that yes, NeceSera is something that is aiming to achieve a lot more, that's when they also realized that, okay, like they're onto something.
They are serious and they are onto something.
Absolutely.
And they're going to make it.
Yeah, and hopefully.
Nice. So NeceSera essentially is a nightwear and lounge brand, and you were one of the first ones to move into this segment in the country, which is a very different step, because mostly, what the stereotype is that when women are in fashion, they want to do the fancy stuff, like the Indian wear or like super fancy like gowns or Western wear. But from the outside, like nightwear doesn't sound as glamorous. But like, why did you guys like choose to be in this segment? What was the business opportunity you saw?
So I think a couple of things there. First, I like when we got into NeceSera, we never felt that there was a dearth of fashion. Not that there's anything wrong with fashion brands. We just didn't feel that there was a need for another fashion brand at that point. Secondly, there was a lot of research and development happening within fabrics in our manufacturing facility, which we felt we had to sort of contribute that part to the Indian market, because people in India had either been paying for like very similar products or like overpriced international products. And while India has such a big textile market, you know, we were like, why aren't we providing these resources to the customers? And there was this one thing which I came across initially. It was like a 50 wash t-shirt. So it was being manufactured in the factory and for an international brand.
Okay.
And it's what it is basically that if you wash the t-shirt over 50 times, nothing happens to it. The color doesn't change, the shape doesn't change, nothing. Like you can literally wash it. And I was like, why doesn't this exist in India? I've never heard of this concept in India, and we're giving this to people outside. So why not leverage this research facility and actually expand on that to make the fabrics which we need for, like, you know, the maximum time, which is like the lounge time that we wear, like loungewear and nightwear. So like, why not use that and give our customers what they really need?
And not just export like the best fabrics outside the country, but make products for Indian women with the same fabric.
I mean, India is a textile hub. Like,
it is the textile hub of the world.
We're one of the biggest exporters of textiles. So why are we not making in India and selling in India? Why are we making in India and selling abroad? And like we cater, like, you know, we realize there's a lot of these multinationals that are making a lot of products, but the Indian body type is not the same as the body types that you find all over the world. So we wanted to change that narrative where we're like, you should wear what you need and not what you're getting. So, you know, we listen to the customers a lot and we make sure we're bringing what they need to them.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, you also said you do have a couple of sustainable practices that you follow in your production unit, because as we know, fashion is a very wasteful industry. It is. That's the ugly truth. So can you like touch upon a little bit of what you do at NeceSera?
Absolutely. So, you know, textiles is actually one of the most polluting industries around the world. And I'll talk about the end products, which is basically, you know, today a lot of the fabrics that are available in the market, we talk about fast fashion, we talk about fabrics that are available to you, we talk about recycling fabrics and things like that. A lot of it is very wasteful. So we try to change that narrative to a certain degree, of course. Like we still have a lot more work to do. Sure. There's a lot of greenwashing out there in the market, wherein a lot of brands are talking about themselves being sustainable. However, at the grassroots level, there are a lot of non-sustainable practices going on. So, like for example, we talk about recycled polyester in today's world. Recycled polyester is actually a lot worse than normal polyester because of the amount of microplastics going into the water with every wash.
Wow.
Yes.
It's counterproductive actually.
Absolutely. So, you know, we innately try to make sure we're using a lot more fabrics that are a lot more natural, and like we use a lot of cottons and modals, and we've recently introduced a bamboo fabric. So our fabrics are a lot more sustainable, longer lasting, and our silhouettes are more basic, so you can use them for a longer time.
And also at the manufacturing level, we try to, you know, start from step 0, which is basically like how the cotton is produced. So like we try to do drip irrigated cotton, even in our dyeing processes, which is one of the most polluting steps of the manufacturing process. Like we try to make that more sustainable. We recycle our water. We use dyeing processes which are more sustainable, just so that we can give back to the environment instead of, like, you know, polluting it. And we're actually on our way to becoming carbon neutral. So hopefully soon.
Oh, that's amazing. Kudos for that. So we spoke a little bit about this off the camera, that you do have a larger purpose for NeceSera, the brand. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
So, you know, you spend most of your time in comfortable clothing and a lot lesser time in
clothing. With stuff like this. We've dressed up for the course we can right now.
Absolutely.
That's true.
So we want to make sure women in India are lounging comfortably. Like, you should be comfortable in your skin at any given point in time.
And we want NeceSera to be your one-stop shop for everything comfortable. Like while we started just with clothing right now, we would want that to transcend into other categories of, you know, your life. And so that whenever you think of anything comfortable, you come to NeceSera. And also as a brand, we're inherently, like as a company, we're inherently trying to be sustainable throughout. So like from smaller things to bigger things, we want to like continue that as we grow further.
Amazing. I'm sure you're going to do great things. You work in the fashion industry, and it's a very fast-paced industry, and you have to be creative non-stop. So a lot of designers I've spoken to, they burn out really fast.
Yeah.
So how do you keep yourself inspired continuously?
Yeah. There's two aspects to this. One is to keep ourselves updated, and the second is to keep our team updated. So we constantly try to keep ourselves updated by, upskilling ourselves, engaging with the newer generation, doing like different things. So we've both done like courses after starting NeceSera in fashion to get more up to date with the market and like, what's happening. And in terms of the team, we actually work with a lot of new designers internationally across the world, and that has given us a great perspective and a very new direction in design every time. Like, so whether it's designers from Milan, Paris, London, Dubai, like all different places. So it's actually really interesting for us also to like learn from them and work with them for every different collection.
Absolutely. And in fact, following up on what Riddhi said, we've recently collaborated with students from Institute of Marangoni for an upcoming collection. And our first phone call with them was the most exciting because we were talking to these 15 Gen Zs, super excited.
Super creative, out of the box.
Super creative, out of the box thinking. We sent them like a few pieces, the things they had done with our existing products, the ideas they came up with, and the most exciting was the number of questions they had for us.
For sure.
It was amazing, and that made us realize how important it is to constantly stay curious and keep engaging with people from all age groups.
And collaborate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We get ideas from people our mom's age, and we get ideas from like 8-year-olds. So it's amazing.
That's amazing. Talking about collaborations, like at NeceSera, I know you've worked with some of the biggest celebrities as well as some of the most popular bloggers and digital creators. So if you can briefly like tell us about some of your most memorable collaborations.
Our first collaboration, which was actually with Masoom Meenawala. This is before we launched, and it was really exciting because we had sent her our products before the collaboration was supposed to go up as a post. And she had loved it so much that she posted like 4 or 5 stories organically just about her reviews of the products. And Stuti, like the next 24 hours of those stories were literally manic for our team because we were literally like, what just happened? We had no website, no photo shoot, no images, nothing. But our page was just going crazy with like all these inquiries and orders, and we were like, oh wow. Like,
which is great power of digital creators.
Absolutely.
But you've also had some collaborations which had a larger social impact. You spoke to me about it off camera. So if you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. As Riddhi had mentioned earlier, we work with a lot of different kinds of designers for every collection, and every collection has a purpose. So we once worked with a mental health advocate who designed very beautiful designs for us, promoting self-love and self-care. And it's your pajama, but it's making a statement.
Nice.
And just making you feel happy because why not?
You can make a statement on mental health while going for your groceries or a drive.
Yes, absolutely.
Why not?
Absolutely.
So you're a D2C brand. It's a very difficult competitive market to be in, and now there's been so much change in consumer behavior. We witnessed a pandemic. So I want to ask you both, like, what are some of the biggest challenges and failures you have seen at NeceSera where you look back and you're like, why did we do this? And like, what did you learn out of that?
So specifically around the pandemic, actually, it's very interesting because definitely the first month of the pandemic when everything was on a complete lockdown, it was difficult for everyone on the team. But as soon as it started opening up a little bit, it was a really, it was a great moment for all of us because that's when we actually realized what an impact we had created, because we were literally getting requests from customers who had to like order pajama sets because their mom was in the hospital. So they needed to order like 7-8 because they couldn't wash them. They just needed new ones for every day. And we were literally sending our team to the office to while obviously social distancing, to send out as many orders as we could because people really needed loungewear at that time. And it was a really humbling experience because like we all realized at the same time we had created such an important impact, and it just felt great for all of us. And it was amazing that we were able to, get those products to the customers, and it was actually making an impact in their lives.
In a dire time of need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we realized we're truly essentials.
Yeah.
No, but I think along the way there are always challenges.
Yeah,
And we
of
hit
course.
one within like 1 year of starting, where we, this nice, smart person came into our office and he's like, I will sell your products for you. Please give me like 100, 200 pieces. Don't be and be rest assured, you're going to sell out.
And this was someone from a reference, like you
No,
knew?
but they had a online presence,
Yeah.
a physical presence, so it seemed like very trustworthy.
It seemed trustworthy.
Yeah.
And 6 months later, we have no sign of where our products have gone.
Oh God.
We don't have the money for it in like a year.
And this was consignment. You didn't take any money from him.
We did not, no. And so that was a very hard-hitting reality that, okay, you can be duped into like wrong things. So please do your due diligence.
Yes.
We are talking
Have your
to-
checks and balances
Yeah.
in place.
Absolutely, don't trust everybody.
Yeah.
Don't give people at their face value. But being a D2C brand, one thing I would like to say is your goal is making sure your customer is happy. Don't let them ever know what is going on behind the scenes. As long as the customer has his product, he's happy.
And deliver it.
Deliver it.
Whether you have a website or not, whether it's a pandemic,
Yeah.
if you've got the order, make it happen.
Make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to stay up till 5 in the morning. Don't care. The customer doesn't need to know that. You will have to make sure it reaches the customer. So,
Right. I just want to ask you a little bit on the personal front. You're young girls. You've made an amazing brand.
Yes.
One of the first brands in the country in its segment, and a leading one at that. But like as women, because this is the Because She Can podcast, I have to ask you this. As women belonging to joint families in an Indian setup, we always have timelines that are imposed on us. Is time tak padhai karo. If you want to go for your higher education, be back in the country by this.
Yeah.
Now you're too old, start your business, be married by this time. But life doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And we don't have control over that. So have you faced that bias from people in society? And then how have you navigated that?
Okay, I'm going to answer this first. I had always dreamt that, okay, I will go to college, I will come back, and I'll be married by the age of 21, driving, living a good life. And here I am at 28, running NeceSera, and I am really happy about that because, I feel like society, and I don't think there's anything wrong with getting married early or
Yeah.
late. No one has a set
Yeah.
timeline. Everyone is different. But what is important is to find out who you are yourself as well. Like, I think I still am that girl who wants to get her Bollywood wedding and all of that stuff. But at the same time, I realize the importance of having something that I can call my own.
Yeah.
Something that gives me a purpose and something that makes me happy. So you won't believe it. Up until like recently, whenever I went for a family function or a wedding, I would be asked, "Acha beta, sab shaadi kab kar rahe ho?"
The question we've all been asked.
Absolutely. And over the last few years, what's changed is we enter a party and people are like, you guys are killing it with NeceSera. And it feels amazing.
You've changed the narratives of the aunties at the parties and weddings.
Absolutely.
So this is your circle of influence, and you do
Yeah.
represent that changing narrative. So
Yeah.
kudos to that.
Thank you.
Riddhi, do you have anything to say on that?
I think whether married or not, every life has comes with challenges and ups and downs. But what's really helped both of us in our individual personal lives has been having NeceSera, which has given us strength and purpose, because this has been the only constant which has, had an upward trend. While life is just like that, but NeceSera,
Yeah.
like having NeceSera with us has given us so much strength and, like as Sudiksha said, given us that purpose in life to just keep going. So,
Yeah.
I really wish that everyone can do this, because I feel like women can do both, so why not?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why can't, we should,
Like why can't we have it all, and why do timelines have to be imposed on us?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like you will get married, you will have a family, but also take care of yourself.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
I just want to ask both of you, what does hashtag because she can mean to you? Sudiksha?
Because she can be herself, she can be anything, she can do anything, she can achieve anything. I'm still working on that, but I'm realizing the importance of not doubting yourself and just being yourself.
Fabulous. So Riddhi, what does hashtag because she can mean to you?
Because she can do it all, and every woman has the capacity of being able to create balance in life, and I honestly feel that every woman can. It's just a matter of believing in herself. Like there was this time, one of my first interviews, I was 21, and this very like known reporter was interviewing me, and he was just so doubtful of what I'm going to do when I go in front of that camera, and that attitude just created this like inner confidence in me that I have to get this right. Like I have to get every question right in the first go, and it
Yeah.
actually didn't need a second cut. So I was like really proud of myself to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So honestly, like you all can. You just have to believe in it.
Amazing. Love that answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the Because She Can podcast. And these are just mementos from us to you.